Welcome everyone. A question that is quite popular right now is how do marks of excellence work? How is the calculation made? How do you earn them? What games does it keep track of? And so on, so forth. And today we're going to be covering that topic. It's mark of excellence. Now, marks of excellence have been in the game since I believe 2015, and then they were added to the barrels of our guns at the end of 2015, I think it was, which was pretty cool. People like to show them off, people like to grind them. And back in the day, the algorithm was quite simple to get them. Then they changed it here on console, and the way they changed it, they didn't really tell us. But no longer were you hit as hard when you had a bad game, but it did take you longer to grind for your marks. So your games, individual games, had less of an impact on your mark of excellence. While what they've done now is they've reverted back to the old way, and so your games have a harder impact on your marks of excellence now at this point in the game. And so we're going to be going over exactly how marks of excellence are earned. You hear 65% is 1 mark of excellence, 85% is 2 marks of excellence, and 95% is 3 marks of excellence. What exactly does that mean? Let's do a simple calculation just so I can show you guys how the marks of excellence work, or at least the percentages. Let's pretend a tank does 2,000 damage. On average in the last 2 weeks among all players, and this includes assist damage. Then let's find out what 100% would be. Now remember, 100% has not changed here in console, so 100%, this is not how the algorithm works for 100%, but we need this for a baseline. So times 2, okay? That's 100% damage standing, because 2,000% 2,000 damage is 50% damage standing, okay? So we've doubled it. This is 100% damage standing. Now we can find the rest of our calculations. So if we multiply this by 0.95, 3,800 is 95%. That would be 3 marks of excellence. Okay, let's go back to 4,000. Let's try 2 marks of excellence, so 0.85. That means 3,400 damage would be 2 marks of excellence, okay? So now let's do 1 mark of excellence on a tank that averages 2,000 damage. It'd be 2,600 damage. So there you have the numbers. For 1 mark of excellence, for a tank that averages 2,000 damage, you need 2,600 damage. For 2, it's 3,400, and for 3, it's 3,800. That's how the calculations work, and that's all across the board. Therefore, if you have a tank that, let's say, the average player base does 2,600 damage in the last 2 weeks, all you do is you multiply that by 2, and then for 3 marks of excellence, you then multiply that by 0.95, 95%. So to 3 mark a tank that averages 2,600 damage among all players in the last 2 weeks, 95% damage standing would be 4,940 damage. Okay, I've mentioned 2 weeks in that last clip. What are 2 weeks? What does that mean, 2 weeks, CloneGuy? What does that mean? Well, the game keeps track of the last 2 weeks played in a particular vehicle. We're going to use the 279E here, which is what I'm playing in the background. Okay, so the Object 279E, what is the average damage required to 3 mark this? Well, I don't know. But what the game does is it takes all the games played in the 279E in the last 14 days, and it takes that calculation, we'll just say it's 2,000 damage, just like we did last time, and then that's what you need to average to 1 mark, 2 mark, and 3 mark the tank. Then when tomorrow comes, the game that was, or the day that was 14 days ago from today, is erased from that average, because it only keeps track of the last 14 days. Now that is not the same for the individual playing the tank. When you're going for your 100%, your 95%, and so on and so forth, your damage standing, it keeps track for you the last 100 games played in your tank. This means if you were a noob in your tank way back in the day, but you want to pull it back out to 3 mark it, you have hope, because you only need to play the tank 100 times, and then it starts erasing games played that you used to have in the tank. The bad games, the games when you were a noob, if you would have it, which is kind of helpful. Actually, it's not kind of helpful, it's very helpful. So if you're a good player now and you weren't as good before in a certain tank and you reach 100 games, you can expect your mark of excellence to start going up after you reach 100 games. It's quite interesting, and it's a nice, again, a nice concept added into the game. Okay, so we've talked about how marks of excellence work now in the sense of damage standing, the percentages, and so on and so forth. Okay, so now what do you need to do? You're talking about damage, CloneGuy. Yes, damage. You need to do damage, raw damage. Every time you shoot your gun and you penetrate a target, you get damage. And that damage goes toward the average. And remember, you're trying to beat the average by 15%, right? It's 65%. That is 1 mark of excellence if you're going for 1 mark of excellence, right? Now, that's just raw damage. The game also takes into account assist damage. But there's a catch-22 here. Yes, it does both tracking damage and it does spotting damage. Okay? Tracking and spotting. However, I think the proper word I should have used is tracking or spotting. It takes one or the other. You don't get to choose, well, not directly, you don't get to choose what the game chooses for you, you know, tracking or spotting damage. And that's not because the game is being mean to you or it's random. It takes whatever is higher in that particular game. If you have more spotting damage in the game, then the game takes from your spotting damage for your mark of excellence. If you have more tracking damage in your game, then it takes the tracking damage and adds that to your total damage done in the game. So this is something that you need to be paying attention to, keeping track of as you're marking your tanks, is simply making sure that if you already have a lot of spotting damage, that you go for more spotting damage, and maybe you don't shoot the tracks of a tank that's in front of you because you want some spotting damage. If you know you have more tracking in a game or you're on a city map, then go more so for tracking damage. And so this is something you'll have to keep track of yourself and decide for yourself as you're playing your games, is do I want to be going for tracking damage or do I want to be going for spotting damage? Again, whenever you shoot your gun and you penetrate, that goes straight into it. There's no catch-22 there. A penetration is a penetration, and that is always going to go towards your marks of excellence. It's just your assist damage, which is a little bit different. Otherwise, that's how marks of excellence work. You go out there, you do as much damage as you can. It's not affected by how badly you lose or how much you win by. It's not affected by the medals you get. It's not affected by kills. It's not affected by deaths. It's affected solely by damage done and assist damage received. That's it. Don't win your games. Don't throw your tank away. Don't be a team player. Basically, that's how marks of excellence work. That's sometimes why I struggle with marks of excellence, because I will instinctively throw my tank away if it means winning a game. But if you're going for marks of excellence, that's the last thing you want to do. You want to hide in the back, keep yourself alive, farm, get your marks of excellence. But that is how they work. I hope this video was educational for you guys. I went ahead and I asked some questions and I looked up some forums and I figured this all out to make sure I was not misquoting anything, because I almost did. I almost said it kept track of the last 200 games. Someone corrected me and I did some research and went to Wargaming, and it was confirmed, no, the game keeps track of your last 100 games played in a particular vehicle. Okay, cool. So we had that fixed, and other than that, everything in here is factual. I can promise you that. They were run by, I suppose running by Wargaming doesn't mean it's factual. They were run by PC Wargaming. I actually went there instead of to console, believe it or not, because we use the same algorithm as they do. That's it. Hope you guys all enjoyed. If you did, slap that like button, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what tanks you're going for on your marks of excellence, and if this video was helpful for you, so that you now understand how marks of excellence work. That's it. I have nothing else to say. So, I guess peace out.